Welcome to Post Game Podcast. I'm your host, June, and I want to remind everybody to make sure that you're subscribed to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube and you're following us on all the podcast aggregators. Make sure you put in Post Game Podcast, FFSN in your search. Follow us. Make sure that notification bell is on. And so when we drop content, you'll be able to catch us. Check, you'll be the first to get it and download those episodes for us. I'm here to talk about my featured player of the week, inspired by B. Foster. I can't do the featured player of the week like he does, but however, I'll do my best. But I put a little twist to it, and I'm going to do the old school players. And today, I have the pleasure of doing one of my all-time favorite players for this featured player profile, Mr. Isiah Thomas. If you're watching, look, you see this man, number 11, the point guard of the Detroit Pistons. Oh man, I can go on for days. I got less than 10 minutes, so I'm going to go through this rather quickly. This guy here, I can talk about for days. He was drafted in 1982. I'm sorry, 1981. 1981 draft. He was the 1982 Rookie of the Year. Prior to that, he played 2 years in Indiana, where his sophomore season, Indiana won the national championship. He played for Coach Bobby Knight, the general, and this guy was just amazing. Now, I can roll off some numbers for you, but today's NBA is not going to be impressive. One of the things I will say as a disclaimer is that this guy was told by Chuck Daly, you could score 40 points a night and try to win that way, or you can get your teammates involved. And I believe you'll have a better chance at winning games if you get your teammates involved. Isiah said, I want to win championships. With that being said, Isiah Thomas played in 979 games. He averaged 19.2 a game with 9.3 assists, 3.6 rebounds per game, and 1.9 steals per game. He also had a field goal percentage of 45.2, shot free throws at 75%, 75.9 to be exact. Played in 111 total playoff games. He averaged 20.4 in those playoff games with 8.9 assists, 4.7 rebounds, and 2 steals per game. This guy was amazing, and he could do it from all over the court. He had a jump shot. He'd take you off the dribble. He was crazy with the handles. I have arguments about this guy and his handles all the time. They also, today's people will say Kyrie had better handles, and I always bring up Isiah Thomas. Isiah Thomas was he wasn't going to take the ball from him, and he could dribble through traffic. He was one of the last of the dying breeds as far as pure point guards. He led the Pistons, the Bad Boys. He was the leader of the Bad Boys, and he led them to 2 NBA championships in 1989 and 1990. In 1989, they swept the Lakers. Yes, I brought that up. Swept the Lakers, and in 1990, they won another championship versus the Portland Trail Blazers. I think the series was 4-1, and Isiah was the MVP of that series right there. They brought out the 3-guard system: Joe Dumars, Vinnie Johnson, and Isiah Thomas, and Portland didn't have an answer for him. I think the playoffs didn't have an answer for him. However, Isiah did his thing. Isiah was a 12-time NBA All-Star from 1982 all the way to 1993. He was three-time All-NBA first team and 2-time All-NBA second team. He won the All-Star MVP twice, and like I said, he was the Rookie of the Year in 1982. He was on a mission to win championships. He was the first player picked. And what can I say, man? This guy was probably the one, and he's in my top 5 guards of all time. He might be legitimate top 3 of all point guards that ever played a game. This guy was amazing. He could do a lot of things, and they built the team around him. When he first got there, the Pistons were god awful. And before he left, they won 2 championships. Uh, and he didn't disappoint. I remember his very last game, played against the Boston Celtics in the playoffs, and tore his Achilles, and it was just over for him at that point. So after he tore his Achilles, he did not play again. He wound up coaching. He wound up being a GM for a little bit. I don't have those stats. I'm here to talk about Isiah Thomas as the player. I'm sure I can go on and on about what he's done as far as coaching and what he's done as far as a GM, but I wanted to concentrate on the captain of the Pistons, the leader of the bad boys. This guy was lightning quick. Like I said, he can go to the rack. He shot jump shots, but he was one heck of a passer. And like I said, he averaged 2 steals a game. So he did not slack on the defensive end. He was about 6'1". I want to say he was about 6 foot, but he was listed as 6'1", and this guy was very, very good. And I got another story. So did a lot of things with the Boys and Girls Club as a kid. So one summer, the Boys and Girls Club took us to Cedar Point, right? And so we're at Cedar Point, and we hear through the grapevine that Magic Johnson, Isiah Thomas, and Mark Aguirre was in Cedar Point. So as a kid, it's like, somebody lying. Didn't believe it. We're walking to the bus when it's time to go, and you see these people pulling these big carts of stuffed animals. You know how you win the free throw, the basketball games, and you get a stuffed animals? Magic Johnson had somebody pulling like a whole cart. And I'm like, wow, Magic's really tall, right? And right behind him was Isiah Thomas, and he had a couple of racks of these stuffed animals himself. And it was like, wow. And people were around running to him and running to them and crowding them kind of a little bit. And, I was too cool to be a groupie. So I just kind of stayed to the rear. And, I didn't want to do that. But yeah, that actually happened. So once again, my featured player of the week is none other than Isiah Thomas. Make sure you subscribe to Bleachers Speakers on YouTube.